Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of AEW Dynamite as well as NXT for February 19th, 2020. I was mainly focused on AEW Dynamite, but I also have some thoughts on what went down during NXT. I do have both shows up at the same time. However, I have to focus on AEW since Dynamite is AEW's A show. NXT, it's still the C brand of WWE. As great as it is, it's still not one of the top two brands. So, gotta give some focus to AEW. But both shows going head to head. What an atmosphere and what a night. Both shows stepping up and delivering great shows as they have been for the past several months. Let's go ahead and get started with AEW. We had the pyro go off and we went right to the Tag Team Battle Royal to determine which team will face Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega at the upcoming Revolution pay-per-view. The crowd chanted AEW right when the match got started. Jack Evans tried to do a big dive from the top onto the whole group, and I'm watching this and I'm like, they're all just standing there waiting to catch him. Only this time, that's what they did. They were standing there waiting for him. They caught him, they picked him up, and they tossed him over the top. In this particular match, traditionally, at least years ago, in these types of tag team battle royals, when one guy goes out, both guys are eliminated. AEW changing up the rules here. In this match, if one guy from a team is eliminated, the other guy can still compete and win the match for his team. We had the Dark Order at ringside, and they distracted SCU, talking about how the Exalted One is approaching. SCU, due to the distraction, they got dumped out. And then the Young Bucks, with the super kicks, eliminated the Dark Order members. Scorpio Sky jumped the barricade and went after the Dio. Then, later on, Dio offered CIMA a spot in the Dark Order. He took the mask and walked to the back with it. So he didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. What is CIMA going to do? We had a face-off in the ring between Luchasaurus and the Butcher, which the crowd loved. The two big guys going at it, trading blows. This was fun. And then with four guys working together, they were able to eliminate Luchasaurus. So no tag team title match for Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy Jack Perry just yet. And then for some good heel heat, I mean, that got some heat right there. When Luchasaurus got eliminated, a lot of people booed that. But what really got some heat was when the best friends were about to do their hug, and that's when the Butcher came in and stopped the hug. Crowd booed that very loudly. Then we had Orange Cassidy make the save for Trent Beretta, who was on the verge of being eliminated, similar to when Otis saved Mandy. Crowd loved that, of course. Then Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks. Nick got eliminated, so Matt was still in the match. Matt did the big best friends hug with Trent. Big crowd pop for that. And then the Bunny came in with a low blow to Orange Cassidy. And it finally came down to Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks alone with Santana and Ortiz. Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle was there. He interfered during the match. It was basically 3-on-1, but somehow Matt Jackson came back. He super kicked Sammy, and he managed to eliminate both members of the Pride and Powerful to pick up the victory. So at AEW Revolution, it will be the Young Bucks versus Adam Page and Kenny Omega. But on this show, Omega and Page had to face another top team in AEW. More on that in a few minutes here. This was a great battle royal. Very well done by AEW. Very well laid out. Lots of people got to shine in this match. I was very entertained with it from start to finish. Excuse me. Over on NXT, we had a recap from NXT TakeOver Portland. We had a recap of the drama between Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream. The UE came out for the beginning of the show, Undisputed Era. Adam Cole talked about how they are the measuring stick of the NXT brand. And then Dream, he did a promo with the big screen with his picture there, but he actually wasn't there. It was just his logo. And he talked about Roddy's wife again. And Roddy was furious, and he said that you're going to wish you never came back when I get done with you. So this was all setting up the main event, Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream. We had MJF backstage giving a pep talk to Wardlow as Wardlow was doing push-ups and getting ready for the big cage match with Cody, the first ever cage match in AEW history. Cody arrived with Brandy and his dog. And then we had Shauna versus Chris Statlander. Britt Baker was out there on commentary. And Statlander's gimmick, much like Orange Cassidy with the kicks, her new gimmick, well, I guess that it's been her gimmick for a while, but she's doing the nose bop to everybody. That's her thing now, and I guess that's going to be what gets her over. We had Excalibur trying to bring up how she was in a spaceship and it crash landed at Area 51, and Jim Ross was just thinking this whole thing was ridiculous, probably. Meanwhile, Britt Baker brought a coffee for Tony Schiavone, a coffee to help him lose some weight, according to her, and the name was spelled Toney. That was cute. I like that. But anyways, Statlander picked up the victory. If they're gonna do this alien gimmick with her, which I do like because at least it's a character. You know, I always ask, what is this wrestler's character? Like, how would you describe it? Chris Statlander is an alien. So I would like to see some video packages. Maybe go to Area 51 and do something. Be creative with it. Make it fun. But yeah, I would like to see more vignettes and video clips of her doing alien stuff like that. Over on NXT, we had Jordan Devlin versus Lio Rush for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was a close battle. Lio Rush hit the springboard stunner, but Devlin got his foot on the rope, and then Lio went for the final hour. He missed, and then Devlin hit his side suplex to pick up the victory over a very game Lio Rush, and is still your Cruiserweight champion, still the ace. Still battling a little bit of a sore throat, guys, so I do apologize. The show must go on, as they say. We had a recap of Riho versus Nyla Rose. Tony Schiavone interviewed Nyla Rose on the stage. She was not happy with her reaction. She referred to the fans as a bunch of annoying bees. Talked about how being the champion is justice. She held up the title. Said she should have been the first champion. And talked about how she's hungry. And when she gets hungry, she breaks bitches. And she will be the #1 champion. The only champion to have one reign. Because nobody's going to beat her. Nobody is a beast like her. Then we had Chris Statlander come out, and she did it. She did the boop, the nose boop, or bop, whatever, to Nyla Rose, who was not amused by this. And then Big Swole came out and got in Nyla's face. So they're setting up a couple challengers. Would not shock me if they do a match between Statlander and Big Swole to determine the next opponent. Over on NXT, we had Gonzalez interviewed with Dakota Kai about what happened at NXT TakeOver Portland. And Gonzalez talked about how Tegan Nox got every opportunity but was pushed aside, or Dakota Kai, I should say, got every opportunity. No, I totally screwed that up. It was Tegan Nox who got every opportunity while Dakota Kai was pushed aside. My bad. And Gonzalez said that she knows what that's like at the Performance Center, being overlooked. And then William Regal showed up and announced that in 2 weeks, it will be Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox in a steel cage match. No outside interference. That happens in 2 weeks. NXT cage match between the ladies. Should be a barn burner. We had a recap of Jeff Cobb's debut in AEW, and then Taz came out on commentary, and we had Jon Moxley versus Jeff Cobb in a singles match. Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, along with Jake Hager, came out. They were holding tickets to sit at ringside. Why Sammy needed a ticket when he came out earlier, I have no idea, but it is what it is. One thing I love here, the crowd chanting and singing Jericho's song. That's just great. I'm happy that that's catching on, even though Jericho's supposed to be the top heel in AEW, yet all the fans are singing the song with him. Moxley went after the knee of Jeff Cobb, and Taz was talking about how you go after the knee and there's one bad wheel, it's hard to suplex people. So good stuff here. Good usage of Taz on commentary. And Cobb went for a pinfall attempt and actually lifted up Moxley to try and show Jericho that he was in control, that he had a handle on things. He hit a suplex on the floor to Moxley. He took a page out of Dr. Death Steve Williams' playbook with the Oklahoma Stampede. They traded blows back and forth. Eventually, Moxley, out of nowhere, picked up the victory over Jeff Cobb. And pretty much a second after it was over, you had the entire Inner Circle come in there for the attack. And then Dustin Rhodes came out to make the save, but he was overwhelmed. Lights went out. And that's when we had Darby Allin make his return after being gone for a couple weeks. He was doing video packages, but actually hadn't appeared in front of the live crowd since the attack from Sammy Guevara and the Inner Circle. Darby came in. He used the skateboard as a weapon. Cool offense from him. Jericho and Moxley finally traded blows back and forth, but Jericho took a powder. He escaped. Good stuff here. And next week they are doing a weigh-in, which I'm just going to go on the record and say I like a lot better than a contract signing. The contract signing was always a dumb concept because I'm like, you've been advertising the match all this time and now you're signing the contract? You spent all that money when you don't have it set in stone legally? Just never made sense to me. So I like the concept of a weigh-in better because it's basically the same thing as a contract signing. You're just getting the two guys in there for a final segment to build up the pay-per-view. So I like this. I like doing the weigh-in. Don't do the contract signing. Do the weigh-in. I like it. Over on NXT, we had Austin Theory come out, and then Tommaso Ciampa came out, and he grabbed the microphone. Crowd was chanting, "Daddy's home." Austin walked up to him wanting to know, "What the hell are you doing?" And Ciampa was like, "Listen, man, not tonight. Back off." Ciampa cut a promo, said he should have seen it coming, the attack by Johnny Gargano at NXT Portland. He said that he was so focused on getting Goldie back that he stopped paying attention to his surroundings. And he said, it's not about why, Johnny, why, because Johnny knows why. But before he could finish his promo, Austin Theory went for the sucker punch and he got knocked down. And then Ciampa said, to get his life back, there can be no Johnny Gargano in NXT. Very interesting tease there for what might be to come. Could we see Johnny Wrestling finally go to the main roster? Are they going to do a loser leaves town match? seemed to be a little tease for something. Then Austin Theory attacked Ciampa again. Bad idea, because Austin got his ass kicked again. And next week it's going to be a match between them, and probably not going to be a great night for Austin Theory, because Ciampa is not in the best of moods. Over on NXT, or not NXT, AEW, we had the Lucha Brothers versus Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. There were dueling chants in the crowd. They were chanting cowboy shit and whatever Pentagon's catchphrase is. Really good match between these guys, and there was a point where it looked like maybe we were going to have new champs. Adam Page accidentally hit Kenny Omega, and Omega almost got beat, but he managed to make a comeback, and then Page got back in. They did the buckshot lariat V-trigger combo, and they scored the pinfall victory. After the match, the Young Bucks came out to celebrate, and then Adam Page left. It was the Bucks and Omega in the ring. Page went to the outside and grabbed some drinks. So the dissension continues, and what's going to happen at the upcoming pay-per-view? Will it be a nice, clean-cut match between friends, or will there be shenanigans? You'll have to find out on pay-per-view. Over on NXT, we had Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde up against the grizzled young veterans. Pretty much a showcase for the veterans. They picked up the victory with the double knees to Mendoza. And then after the match, cut a little bit of promo talking about the guys in the back being the land of the neckbeards. And the Forgotten Sons were not happy with this comment and challenged them to a match. Then we had the Broserweights come out. They celebrated in the crowd the new tag team champions. They cut a promo in the ring, and Matt Riddle was like, "Where's our golf cart?" And Pete Dunne was like, "It got impounded, bro." And then Riddle talked about the Dusty Cup, which was also not there. And he revealed that the Dusty Cup failed the WWE wellness policy and has been suspended for 30 days. Pretty funny stuff here. We had Lorcan and Birch come out for a tag team match. Broserweights, of course, picked up the victory to continue their momentum as the new tag team champions. We had a video package on AEW about the new action figures. AEW debuting their first line of action figures, and Cody got to see his figure with a sledgehammer, of course, which I'm sure the internet will love. And Chris Jericho got to see his figure, Omega. Good stuff here. The figures look pretty cool, gotta admit. Ken Terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Ken. I appreciate it. He says, if Ciampa and Gargano have a loser leaves NXT stipulation, will it be a specialty match circa Matt Hardy versus Edge in a ladder match? I would like to see a Hell in a Cell match. I did mention this the other night. I think that would be very fitting to settle their feud once and for all. I mean, really a loser leaves town match, you don't need anything else, but considering these guys have done so much in their previous matches, like, how do you top those other matches? Like, I almost feel you have to do Hell in a Cell just because they've set the bar so high. How can you top it? Like, are you just going to do a regular match with the loser leaves town stipulation? They could do like a ladder match or something, but I don't know. I think Hell in a Cell, I mean, that's to me the best way to settle the score once and for all. And Harley says Hell in a Cell match with no referee stoppage. Let's make that clear. There you go. Cody cut a promo about the steel cage match, and they had a recap of the whole storyline to set up the match. Cody said that this match was not about escaping the cage. It's about settling a score and fighting, and said it will be violent. I like this concept. I've always been a big fan of cage matches being about settling a score and not trying to escape the cage. Good stuff here from Cody. And then on NXT, we had Keith Lee, still the North American champion, come out. Kona Reeves interrupted him and quickly got pounced. And then Keith was like, go ahead and ring the bell. And literally with one move, he put away Kona Reeves. Dominik Dijakovic came out after this 5-second match and said that he's not ready to move on. He wants another match with Keith Lee. And Keith Lee said that if Dominik can convince William Regal to book the rematch, then they can fight forever. And the crowd, of course, chanted fight forever. So maybe we'll get one more match between these guys at some point. Maybe the next TakeOver. We had Kaden Carter versus Chelsea Green. And during the match, Bianca Belair came out and she pulled a Kanye West on them from the award show all those years ago. I don't even know which one it was. But it's that one where Kanye said, I'm going to let you finish. But Beyonce had the best music video ever. She basically did a spoof of that. And then she called out Charlotte. She said that she is going to whoop that ass. So we'll see if Bianca Belair shows up on Monday Night Raw, or will Charlotte come back to NXT? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But as soon as Bianca left the ring, the match was still going on, and Chelsea Green rolled her up for the near fall. However, there was a kick out, and then Robert Stone, who is the manager of Chelsea Green, he grabbed the leg of Carter, and then Chelsea Green picked up the victory. I have a pretty sore throat, guys, for those of you wondering in the chat room. It's been like this for a few days, so yeah, just trying to get through this the best I can. We had the main events of both shows. We had Cody Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes and Arn Anderson up against Wardlow, making his first in-ring appearance with MJF. Wardlow very jacked up. We've only seen him in the suit, so we haven't gotten to see him out there in his ring gear. And the guy is definitely ripped. Got that big chiseled physique. Cody came out, of course. Big crowd pop. And then Cody climbed up the cage before the match began, really soaking it all in. Match was brutal. Cody got busted open from being thrown into the cage. Figured this was going to happen. It's Cody Rhodes. He's gonna bleed in this match. So he bled like crazy. And then there was one cool spot where he was hanging from the cage door. MJF walked over, and then Arn Anderson walked over, and MJF was taunting Arn to slam door on Cody's face. He kept telling him to hit him. Arn grabbed the cage door, but ended up hitting MJF instead. And then MJF later on gave Wardlow the dynamite ring that he has, and Cody ended up getting the ring away from Wardlow. MJF was irate. He climbed up the cage, and that's when Brandy used the steel chair on MJF, and Arn Anderson tossed MJF over the barricade. Cody used the ring, hit the crossroads. However, we got a kick out from Wardlow. Wasn't enough to put him away. So Cody had to come up with something. He looked up, and he had a plan. He climbed up the cage and did this absolutely insane moonsault off the top of the cage onto Wardlow. You got to see this. If you missed it, you definitely have to check it out. Really spectacular finish here. Cody wins the first steel cage match in AEW history. Man, what a show. I will do my letter grade here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and finish NXT, which was Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream. Dream hit the Dream Valley driver. He pulled down his trunks, which had Roddy's wife on the front and the back. And that's when the UE ran down. Dream did a dive onto all of them, but then he came back in the ring and jumped off the ropes and got hit with the knee strike from Strong. However, Dream managed to kick out and hit another DVD to pick up the win over Strong. Pretty much immediately when the match was over, the Inner Circle, the Undisputed Era, jumped him and beat the crap out of him. And that was the end of NXT. So both shows were really entertaining this week. Let's go ahead and do the letter grades. This was one of the best Dynamites. This, to me, might have been the best one. The Battle Royal was great. I thought that was very well done. And the main event was excellent. Great, memorable finish. I mean, you're going to do your cage match. It's your first one. They went all out for it. Cody held nothing back. They did a lot of good stuff to build up the pay-per-view, so I'm giving it a solid A. Very close to an A+, but I do think it was one of, if not the best episodes of AEW Dynamite. Supernamic2121 says A+ for AEW, and Jeremy Dorset says AEW gets an A+, NXT gets an A-. Tic Tat Tat says AEW an A-, NXT gets a B. Lewis gives AEW an A+, Nelson gives it an A. My Heavy Metal Hero Dude says a B+ for AEW and a B for NXT. Flaky Anthony with an A+. And Colin Andrews says NXT gets a B- this week. And Christopher Mace says an A- for both shows. AEW, you definitely have to check out the Battle Royal and the main event. Both of those matches were pay-per-view quality matches, in my opinion. The Battle Royal was really fun. It was just a really fun match to watch. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this recap video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please spread the word, tell a friend, subscribe, and I will be back soon, Friday night, to talk about SmackDown. Give my voice a day to rest. It'll be nice because we had Portland, we had Raw, we had the No DQ review, and then we had this. So 4 nights. I'm glad I got Thursday night off to rest. It's my mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all Friday night after SmackDown. Take care, everybody.